Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to crack open a book that, well, it really promises to flip your whole idea of getting wealthy upside down, our mission. It's to unpack MJ DeMarco's pretty radical idea that maybe, just maybe, becoming wealthy doesn't have to take 40 years of grinding it out. We're diving into his book, The Millionaire Fastlane, which came out back in 2011. So this deep dive, it's really for you, especially if you're looking for a shortcut to understand how to escape that whole save till 65 thing.
Exactly. And, it's important to get, this isn't just another finance book about tracking your spending. It's really aimed at people who are genuinely fed up with the 9-to-5, people actively looking for financial freedom way, way sooner than traditional retirement. So what we're exploring is DeMarco's pretty unconventional, almost provocative take on speeding up wealth creation.
Yeah, and that core promise, it really pushes back against decades of advice, doesn't it? This idea that, okay, instead of the slow, maybe uncertain path, there's this other option, a fast lane to get you to wealth and freedom faster. It's definitely a hook. Okay, so let's dig into this. DeMarco starts with a basic concept. These three financial roads everyone's supposedly on. First, there's the sidewalk. He says this is where most people are, living paycheck to paycheck, often spending impulsively, which leads to debt, financial stress, chaos, really. He puts it pretty bluntly. If you can't control your money, you can't control your life.
And it's a path that's really defined by, a total lack of a plan and this deep-seated consumerism that just traps people. They're not really in the driver's seat financially, often just living for the now with no real long-term game plan.
Okay, so that's the sidewalk. Feels pretty bleak. What's the next step for many?
The slow lane, right? The path we're usually told is responsible.
Right, the slow lane. This is the get a good job, save 10%, invest in mutual funds, maybe retire comfortably at 65 kind of path.
Right.
Sounds sensible, but I hear DeMarco is, not a fan.
Not a fan, is putting it mildly. He famously calls the slow lane a scam sold as wisdom, which is pretty strong language.
Wow, a scam. Why so harsh?
His argument is compelling. It's not just that it takes forever and it's uncertain, market crashes, job loss, inflation eating away at savings, but it's also that it psychologically gets you to trade your most valuable asset, your time, your youth, really for the hope of freedom way off in the future. You're basically giving away control today. It's a stark warning, isn't it? Makes you question that common advice.
Yeah, that word scam really hits hard. Because like you said, that's the advice most of us heard growing up. Get a good job, save, invest. Hearing it called a scam forces you to, rethink some fundamental stuff, which leads us, I guess, to the core of the book, the fast lane. He describes this as the actual way to real wealth. And it's about creating a business or some kind of scalable system. The focus shifts, right? From just trading hours for dollars to value creation, control, and leverage.
Exactly. And the whole point of the fast lane is building assets. Things that make money for you, ideally even while you're sleeping. DeMarco defines wealth differently too. He says, wealth is not just money, it's freedom. So it's bigger than just the bank balance. It includes your time, your choices, your control over your life.
Okay, so we get the philosophy, controlling your destiny, building assets, not just relying on a paycheck. But how? DeMarco gets practical here. He lays out these really specific principles, starting with what he calls the Eine Cents commandments for a successful fast lane business. First, C, control. You absolutely have to own and control the system. You can't be dependent on, say, Amazon changing its rules or being stuck in an MLM structure someone else dictates. Okay, control. Makes sense. What's next?
E is for entry. The barrier to entry shouldn't be ridiculously low. If anyone can do it easily, the market gets crowded fast and profits disappear. You need some kind of moat, some challenge to get in.
Right. Avoids a race to the bottom. Okay, CEN.
N is need. Your business has to solve a real problem. It has to address a genuine need or pain point in the market. People pay for solutions, not just cool ideas.
Got it. Need, then T.
T is time. The business must be able to detach from your personal time. It needs to operate, or at least have the potential to operate, without you constantly trading your hours for it to function. Think passive or semi-passive income streams.
Crucial for that freedom aspect. And finally, S.
S is scale. Your business needs the potential to impact many people, not just a few local customers. Can it reach hundreds, thousands, millions? Think websites, software, products, systems that can grow way beyond just your individual efforts.
Control, entry, need, time, scale.
Yeah.
That's a really solid framework.
Yeah, and what's interesting is how they work together, control protects you from platforms pulling the rug out while scale makes sure it's worth building in the first place. They really address the common ways businesses fail: being too dependent, too easy to copy, not solving a real problem, demanding all your time, or just staying too small. It's quite elegant, actually.
Definitely. It helps you filter ideas. And that focus on time brings us neatly to his next big point, something he really hammers home. Time is more valuable than money. He argues time is the real currency, the only thing you truly can't make more of. And he says that traditional advice, it effectively steals your time and gives you maybe money in the far future.
And connecting that to the big picture, it really forces you, the listener, to think about how you value your own time versus money. Like, are you actively trading irreplaceable hours today for a payoff that might or might not come decades down the line? Or could you be building something now that buys back your time sooner? It's a fundamental question he poses.
It really is. And the third principle flows right from that. Don't follow the crowd. The book is very anti-mainstream. It warns against just blindly trusting financial advisors or settling for an average job. Even questions racking up huge college debt unless it directly leads to a fast lane type opportunity. It's very critical of that whole retirement-focused mindset. He even has that quote, "Jobs are like drugs. They're addictive and they mask the symptoms of poverty." Which is, well, it's designed to provoke, isn't it?
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's intentionally provocative. His contrarian stance is central to the whole fast lane idea. He believes following the crowd leads to crowded results, meaning the slow lane. So rejecting that common wisdom, questioning everything, that's fundamental if you want to achieve that accelerated freedom and control he talks about. He wants you to break from the herd.
Okay, so strong ideas, strong opinions. How did the book actually land with readers? Let's look at the review side. What are the pros people point out?
Well, a big one is the mindset shift. People consistently say it opened their eyes about money, time, and possibility. That seems to be a major takeaway. Also, the strong focus on entrepreneurship, on building things, not just saving pennies. People find that empowering, I think. Plus, he gives concrete examples, especially around online businesses and systems. And he's very clear about rejecting, the get-rich-quick gurus and hype. It feels more grounded in that sense.
Right. Real business is not just wishful thinking. But what about the downsides? What are the criticisms?
The tone comes up a lot. DeMarco can be very blunt, maybe even harsh or arrogant, some find. That can definitely rub people the wrong way if they're not ready for it. Also, it's not a step-by-step manual. It's more philosophy, more direction setting than a paint-by-numbers guide. You have to figure out the specifics yourself. And importantly, it's not for everyone. If you're looking for safety, low risk, this probably isn't the book for you. It requires a certain appetite for risk and, frankly, a lot of hard work up front.
Yeah, definitely not a gentle nudge. Okay, what about some scores? How does it rate?
Pretty high overall, actually. Practical advice is rated 9 out of 10. Motivation gets a full 10 out of 10, which kind of fits with that strong tone, right? Readability is solid at 8 out of 10. Beginner's friendly is a 7 out of 10, so maybe a bit challenging, but accessible. And for long-term use, it gets a 9 out of 10. People seem to find lasting value in the concepts.
Interesting mix. So who specifically should pick this up then? Who is the ideal reader?
I'd say it's really for anyone feeling trapped in the 9-to-5. Aspiring entrepreneurs, definitely. People who are just fundamentally dissatisfied with that save diligently for 40 years model. But the key thing is you have to be ready to actually do something bold. To build systems, not just look for a side hustle, it demands action.
Right. It's a call to action, not just theory.
Yeah.
So, summing it all up, The Millionaire Fast Lane, despite the maybe slightly misleading title, isn't about getting rich overnight. It's more like a blueprint for potentially getting wealthy in, say, 5-10 years instead of 40. But it requires bold action, taking control, and focusing relentlessly on building real value through a scalable business. Like DeMarco says, your choices are the hinges of your destiny.
And that really leads us to a final thought, a question for you listening. If wealth really does equal freedom, as DeMarco argues, what choices are you making today? Are they actually giving you more control over your time and your future? Or are you, maybe without realizing it, giving that control away?
Something to really think about. How might these fast lane ideas, or even just the critique of the other paths, apply to your own situation? Thanks for diving deep with us today.